is do you only use the smash one, or
yeah, when you're doing the short hop one, you're doing the smash one. It shield stuns more, breaks through shields. And by the way, we have Flash playing here.
Yeah.
Who I've been dying to see live in a tournament. I've only seen Flash play online. Very exciting Falco against a very exciting Samus. This one's going to be sick.
Yeah, brought out here it looks like by Melee Stats, so shout outs to them as well.
Yes. Yeah, Melee Stats has been very awesome about supporting kind of really good players that don't get the chance to get outside of the region, right? They're kind of giving players a chance to be seen on bigger stages. And if you haven't seen Flash, you are in for a treat.
Yeah, it's a cool way to select which players you support, for sure.
I'm interested in seeing how SuperSmashBros attempts to tackle someone who's as aggressive and fast as Flash. Yeah. This matchup is considered one of the ones that Samus does pretty well. It's like the spaces are one of the reasons that Samus remains in the mid tier, because if you have a tool set against two of the most used characters, you're going to do well in the rounds. However, over the years, the spaces have gotten better at the matchups, and it's known that the spaces still win the matchup, right? But Samus can hang, and if you are not on point, the Samus has traditionally run away with it. A lot of upsets have happened with Samus against spaces. Famously, SuperSmashBros taking a set from Cody about a year and a half ago or so. Which, if Cody's listening, he hates that I remind him of any Samus losses.
So you have to mention it every time, of course.
That's what we got, man. we got to talk about it.
So far, what I've seen from SuperSmashBros, and the reason I think he's in the lead, well, not in the lead, the reason he's just tied it up, is like an expert staying just outside of the range of Flash, taking advantage a little bit of the aggression. Like he's done a couple like wave dash back, leave some empty space, and then get a hit off.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's been pretty useful.
I also could see that Flash is actually familiar with the matchup in the way that Flash was waiting underneath the platform instead of going for hits on an exposed shield, knowing that there's a risk of SuperSmashBros up being at a shield. Or I'm sorry, no, Flash was on the platform holding a light shield, knowing about the threat of up B.
And my quick vibe check as a Spacey is when they get hit by up B, are they ready to like wiggle out before they hit the ground? Because you're actionable first. Like,
which Flash just did, yeah.
You can punish, which is an extra mute to Fox, because you have like...
That's a shame. That used to not be the case with Melee 1.0.
Yeah.
I used to have a thing where I would bring my own disc to a tournament. Because there was no rule against it, and then everyone, they couldn't believe it. Like, Blur made fun of me. Dewan was the only one who said yes, because he's so cocky that he doesn't care, and he thinks he's going to beat me no matter what. Yeah, and he did beat me. So.
It was Samus and Younglink, right? The two characters that wanted it to be 1.0.
Yeah, and Zelda, actually, because the forward smash, you stay in it.
I forgot that those existed. I've only had one in my tournaments ever.
Fun fact, Zelda was higher on the tier list than, I think, Sheikah?
Near the very beginning, right?
At the very beginning, yeah. Was seen as a very strong character. Okay, sneaks the up B through the shield poke, and then also gets the back air sweet spot off the shield poke.
Yeah, and so the trick there was we spoke for a moment about how up B is like negative when you land, and Flash did wiggle out as usual, looking for a punish, but the SuperSmashBros had the counterplay ready and was able to edge cancel on the side of the platform and get a fair to start a combo. And I guess that's some of that tech you're talking about. You have like suddenly the up B is accessible again.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was I think that was a duck tech.
Oh yeah. I've always noted SuperSmashBros for using fair fairly often. Is that something that...
Well, I've been noticing that a lot of the top Samuses right now have been opting for fair a lot in different ways than I used to use it, whereas I used to use it as a damage tool and sometimes a combo starter.
A starter, okay.
But then people got so good at DIing it that I stopped using it as much. But now the way people use it is they don't need it to hit multiple times. They're okay with, actually, Violence told me that specifically you want to hit number 2 and 4 or 3 and 5 specifically. It's got good range, right? So it's a good coverage tool. It kind of keeps you safe. It's a safe way to engage in the air. And if it hits, there's a lot of big confirms off of it. And if it doesn't, you're kind of able to fade and just you're satisfied with the shield damage, and then you follow it from there with some kind of shield damage. But it's actually like being utilized as a neutral tool rather than a punish tool, which is interesting.
So tell me why 2 and 4 or 3 and 5?
Bro, he explained it to me like 5 times. I didn't get it. No,
okay.
Violence is too big brain for me.
I mean, there's similar. I figured maybe like with Fox, the drill has a thing where certain frames, like you're able to do a grab after because of the way you land and stuff. It might be like ECB related. I don't know.
I'm gonna literally ask Violence to tweet at me the answer because I know you're watching a Samus match.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
He's the biggest Samus fan in the world, and he's helped all of us like with with our gameplay.
I can't help but, since you're here, ask about Samus a bunch. But you know, Flash is winning in this game right now.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think they do it on purpose. I think they find Samus just to put on stream whenever I'm commentating.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Okay, so this recovery is crucial. At KO %, but yeah.
Nice.
Like, I used to strike Battlefield against Falco because the ledge is a lot harder to work with. And you saw it there, it's like SuperSmashBros did end up going high with the up B.
Yeah.
And I think that doesn't happen on a stage where he could actually ride the wall. I think he goes for a sweet spot on another stage. But here he tried to do a mix-up to get to ledge. And it's because of the stage.
And yes, Samus' survivability is one of her strengths, right? So anything that mitigates that is bad.
Yeah.
SuperSmashBros' reflected missile counterplay has been very good.
That's something that SuperSmashBros has always been really good at.
Dash attacked into it earlier. This time had a power shield, is ready for all that. So the projectile war, he wants to go this way. Now, can you? I know I've been asking you a lot of questions, so maybe you haven't been able to watch as in depth. What is Flash doing that is, leading him to success so far in this match? But he seems to be doing pretty well.
Well, I just think it's the type of pressure that he's applying. It's aggressive and it's forcing SuperSmashBros to get into defensive positions, but it's also safe. Like you see, like how he mixes in the light shield in the middle of aggressively approaching, right?
Yeah.
He wants to bait you into a being. He knows what Samus's options are, as far as I see. And also just effective at closing out stocks, right? Whereas some Falcos may not know to go for a down air there. They might go for another back air because they're used to being in a spot where most characters will die off of that, or they'll be far enough where the edge guard works out. But Samus has all kinds of ways to come back. So you got to close out these stocks like in one hit, right? And so you got to have the correct move selection. And I think that Flash has had that.
Yeah, I think Flash maybe factors in, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, some of the reasons that Samus is a mid-tier, right? Like, there are some good out-of-shield options, just not that many, right? And there are ways to combat them.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to grab out of shield, it's so slow that it's riskier than other grabs out of shield.
Right, which is why positioning with Samus is so important, because you don't want to end up in a spot where you even have to shoot.
Yeah. And then on top of that, like, a lot of Samus's normals are minus enough that you can wave dash forward and punish or get pressure, except for one of them. What is it, up tilt or something? I think it's up tilt.
Yeah, up tilt doesn't have a whole lot of life. Yeah, so as a Samus main, you have to be careful to not forward smash, down smash, all willy-nilly. You gotta be...
Yeah. Even the forward tilt, I think you can wave dash in and at least get pressure.
The first time Mango beat me is when I forward tilted his Jigglypuff's shield, and he rested it, and before I finished dying off to the left, he already had his hand out for the handshake, took off his shirt, and then ran around the venue helicoptering his shirt around his head. So I'll never forget that. Yes, forward tilt does have lag. I will never forget that.
Sounds like he was
I learned that day.
Yeah, Flash showing another little trick. You don't just have to wiggle out. He uses the laser. That's what I do. Use the laser to cancel your lag.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it doesn't come out, it doesn't matter.
And you see how once Flash gets SuperSmashBros in shield, he's patient. He's willing to wait for the shield pokes and just apply more pressure, kind of get out of range of a potential up B. You see how he's just spacing those down airs just slightly out of up B range? That's why he's doing well. I mean, he is losing now, but it doesn't feel like it's confusion or winnable. SuperSmashBros just outplayed him.
Yeah. And maybe the smaller stage space actually kind of helps, because we see even on the last stock, right? Like, SuperSmashBros very good at denying the short hop from Falco and stuff. And one of Falco's biggest weaknesses, he's got the shortest short hop and the highest full hop, so that area in between is difficult
to navigate
for him to contest. Yeah.
Which now the question is, where does Flash go? Because if you go to a small stage, well, SuperSmashBros just is better on a small stage. If you go to FD, which is
that's what I would think.
That would be a common pick, but maybe I'll wait till the stage selection happens.
Because we are in the house mic.
We are on the speaker.
Yeah. I guess I got to stick play-by-play. I don't want to coach anybody.
Okay, there we go. All right, let me talk about it.
Have you noticed whatever player we're talking about, they lose the game?
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful about that. Sometimes there's like an edge guard happening and there's no jump, but I don't say no jump, whereas I normally might. I don't want to give that away. But no, I was saying for FD, the problem. Okay.
Extender.
Okay, I'm not going to speak on that. But SuperS's so good at power shields that it kind of takes away a big strength of FD, right? So I think this is a great middle ground for Flash. I actually think this is a fantastic counter pick because you're getting the benefits of the small top, right? For maybe some early shine kills. You have the distance to play with lasers, but also if the power shields are going too well for Super, you can take to the platforms.
So the what do they call it? The missile silo or whatever, the double missile thing that people do.
Yes.
Casters always mention it, but I find that a lot of the times it doesn't come up that often because they're too close. Is it like a major factor or no?
You mean the lasers on the platforms where you're doing the double ones? So you're
missiles on the platforms.
Missiles, I mean. Yeah. You're asking why it doesn't happen too
or
often?
Or how much of a factor is it actually?
Against Falco, not too much because Falco lasers will just kind of interrupt that.
Sure.
And even then, you're never expecting them to hit. It's like if you have that kind of distance and space, then you could throw them out and then find a way in close. But it's never going to win you the game against a competent opponent.
There's the neutral fair you're talking about, led to Nair, and then we're getting the stock. Yeah. And it was a read on like a windmill jump, which is not a place you expect Samus to be able to play against you. Gets a charge shot.
A jump, yeah. I like that call out. Flash was getting a bit too comfortable with the distance of shooting lasers, so SuperSmashBros wisely just letting it rip, just saying I'm gonna keep you honest. You can't just jump around even if I'm not close.
That is a
bold edge guard. That's knowledge. Like you have to know that Samus after the grapple is going to drift down, and you have to have the confidence to just go out for the hit.
Yeah, and you cannot be in that spot, right? Because you're too far away. So it's really
gets a shield poke. Okay, a full extension here, and it calls out the up B.
Yeah, unable to punish this time, but better than getting it as close.
Now Super in a tough spot where this damage is racking up. Either gonna have to go for a straight hit, or possibly a grab into a confirm. Samus does have a confirm KO off of grab on Spacies and Falcon, where no matter the DI, you can always
get back air.
You can always sweet spot back air, and you just have to position correctly before you jump.
Yeah,
but it's guaranteed.
The one where you have to turn around is a little tough, I hear.
But it's just reaction based, but yeah.
One thing that I noticed, and I hadn't thought about Samus' missiles in this way, is Flash was doing an excellent job of keeping just enough space that there wasn't a great way for SuperSmashBros to contest. And so SuperSmashBros did a missile that kind of acted as an overshoot to get that last kill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And because there's low risk, because there's no lag after.
Yeah. And like worst case, it gets reflected or shielded. We've already seen how good SuperSmashBros' anti-reflector play is.
Also, SuperSmashBros is the only Samus I've ever seen dash dance. It's just not a thing I ever did.
Yeah, usually they play more incrementally, right? Like walk forward, wave dash sort of stuff.
I think SuperSmashBros just definitely has his own style and his own way to play it.
Yeah.
It's not based on right or wrong, it's based on whatever he feels like.
And you still see that incremental play sometimes. Like Samus wave dash without a shield is like a main option, right?
Yes. Well, this is really close. Okay, getting this damage, but Samus is going to live for a while.
Yeah, we're on the last stock. This is a best of 3. The winner of this stock takes the set.
Yep. And still a lot of work to go for Flash, despite the percentage advantage.
Oh, we needed a bigger punish than that.
Oh, kind of in a weird spot. Ooh, sneaks in the forward air. I'm surprised Flash let SuperSmashBros get away with that.
And when you land on the side plat like that, you cannot necessarily wiggle out.
Goes for the shield poke, doesn't work out, and gets called out on the recovery, and SuperSmashBros ends up taking the set.
Yeah, he stole that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flash had a big lead. There were a couple opportunities, but
as I said, despite the fact that SuperSmashBros was at near 100%, there was a lot of work to do for Flash, just because Samus is going to live for it. See, this is the thing that I know that sometimes top tiers will play Samus, and they'll feel some kind of way about feeling like they won more interactions, but yet Samus gets away with still winning the set or taking the stock. But that's the nature of Samus as a character, is she's built to be a tank. You are going to